Inflation is the part of economics that explains why the money in your pocket today might not buy as much tomorrow. Instead of thinking of it just as prices going up, it is easier to think of it as the value of your money going down. To understand this more easily, imagine a simple idea: the shopping cart. In a world without inflation, if you go to the store with $100, you might fill your entire cart with groceries. But with inflation, when you return a year later with the same 100, you find that you can only fill half of the cart. The products haven't changed, but your money's power to grab them has weakened. Economists track this using something called the Slotted Consumer Price Index, CPI gauge. Think of this as a giant invisible basket that contains everyday things like bread, rent, gas, and clothes. They watch the total price of this basket over time to see how fast it's getting more expensive. There are two main reasons why this happens. At 1, demand pull inflation. Too much money chasing too few goods. Imagine a popular concert with only 100 seats, but 1,000 people want a ticket. Everyone starts offering more money to make sure they get a seat. Because the demand is so high, the price of the ticket jumps. In an economy, when people have a lot of extra money to spend but businesses can't make goods fast enough, prices across the board start to rise. On 2, cost push inflation, when making things cost more. Imagine you are a baker. If the price of flour goes up or the electricity bill for your oven doubles, you have to charge more for your bread to stay in business. When the ingredients of the economy, like oil, labor, or raw materials, become more expensive, businesses push those costs onto the customers through higher prices. A key concept to remember is when purchasing power. If you hide $1,000 under your mattress, inflation acts like a hidden tax. While the physical number of bills stays the same, but their ability to buy things disappears over time. What used to buy a laptop might eventually only buy a pair of headphones. You might wonder, is inflation always bad? Surprisingly, most economists believe a tiny bit of inflation, usually around 2%, is healthy. It encourages people to buy things now rather than waiting forever, which keeps businesses running and people employed. However, if it moves too fast, it becomes hyperinflation, where prices change so quickly that money becomes almost useless. In simple terms, inflation helps answer questions like, why do things cost more than they did in my parents' time? So why does the value of my savings change? And how does the balance between stuff and money affect my daily life? Instead of looking at fixed prices, inflation shows us that the economy is a moving system where the value of a dollar is always shifting. Even though it can be frustrating to see prices rise, understanding inflation allows us to better plan for the future. It is, in essence, a way of measuring the temperature of the economy. Too cold can be slow, but too hot can burn your